Hey everybody, it's Don Music here. How's everybody doing? You guys are smart. So I left a message in my community page about the project that I'm remixing. I gave some hints, and I did narrow it down so it's not just completely random. You had some choices. There's some really interesting responses. Um, but I gotta say, like several of you nailed it, and one of you nailed it but intentionally gave a different answer just because. And I thought that was pretty awesome. Let me take a look here, see if I can catch up. So I got to use my phone to look at my own community page to read this while I'm talking to you guys while I'm recording. The irony. Lots of great comments. Thanks all. So yeah, I can't see up close without my glasses. So hang on. Okay. Adgar, 923. Yeah, you actually remembered that my reaction to Paul's drumming, and that was awesome. John Auger, 6226. Yep. Lauren James B. Atlas Rise. Interesting choice. Might have to do that. Ronald Morgan, Resistance, 7632. Yep. By the way, you get the hint here of how many of you did the same answer. Damu, Queen of the Murder Scene. Very cool. Interesting choice. Aaron Lape 2870, or Aaron Lape, I don't know. Unmendable. Awesome freaking song with incredible drums. That's an interesting choice too. Pie Chart. That's a nice one. They never did the Pretender in the Cave, right? It's probably Resistance, but I'll say Atlas Rise because why not? Damn, that was really clever. SB Remotes. My guess is Resistance. Nicely done. At Interapax 2. Kickstart My Heart. That's actually a really cool choice too. I wish she had recorded the stupid guitar solo, even if she didn't have a talk box. I wish she had done the guitar solo. Would have been great. Anyway, it is Resistance, and it's a really good recording originally, but there are several things about it that I always thought were lacking, and it's not the performance. The performance is incredible, and the actual recording is good. Several things that are irritating me. One of the biggest is that little Ally is using her little bass that had no low end at all on it. I'm trying to remember, is this the red bass or the white bass? Let me take a look at that too. Hold on, I'm gonna look. Hold on. Go to YouTube. I'm in YouTube. Yes, so it's the red bass. That was a really little Ally. Man, oh man, when did they do this? That's insane. That's like, no, it's not 10 years ago. This was, oh, she was 9? She was 9 when she recorded this bass part? And Pow was 12? And Danny was 14. That's insane. Pow's voice and stuff was still not even like, she's still little Pow, and Ally was still baby Ally, but they're so intelligent and mature and capable at this age. That's nuts. And even 14-year-old Danny, mature vocals, incredible guitar playing, and perfect, flawless piano playing. Like, what the heck? Anyway, yeah. So the bass that Ally was playing just didn't have any depth to the tone at all. It was a really small, short bass, and it's a good bass. They're good basses, but you can't get anything more out of those. And so her tone, even though it was flawlessly played, just didn't have the oomph. Also, it's not very Muse-like because it was just a basic, simple, straight, rather mid-rangey sounding Fender Precision sort of tone on the bass. And Muse is all about the effects, so I wanted to thicken that up somehow. The drums are great, but it's hard to discern the kick drum. Sounds really good just because, again, like as everyone says, as their own sound engineer, live sound engineer says, you put mics on a kit and have Pow play it, and it sounds like Pow. It sounds amazing. And it does. It sounds incredible. But I wanted to differentiate the kick more. Maybe EQ it a little bit. I'm not sure of my success of it, but it's still, whatever, it works. Difficult to do, though. I want to try to add some ambience to it and a bit of reverb. Bring out the toms during the fills more, stuff like that. The guitar, it's great, but it's too quiet, in my opinion. And again, just guitar through an orange amp, great, cool, crunchy sound. But I wanted more thickness and wider, more like she does now with like the stereo guitars. And I want to make it bigger and deeper. Yeah, and the vocals, great, but her vocal was too soft in the mix, generally speaking. And it didn't have any reverb of note to it. I'm sure there's a bit of it, but nothing substantial that added anything to it. I thought it could have added some stereo width. And the background vocals, great. I wanted to separate them off, and the alley to the left, pow to the right sort of thing, you know. Difficult to do, but let's see how this works out. So I'm going to show you here. So this is the original. This is the original that I ripped from YouTube. Sounds pretty good. And as you can hear the kick drum. The bass sounds great, but you can hear the bass is almost like a guitar. Let's jump ahead a bit, okay? Vocals. Pretty good vocal level, but it's not even. It's too quiet at the beginning. I want to bring it up. Now it sounds good. It's also kind of a flat, I don't mean pitch-wise, but kind of a flat tone to the EQ and the processing, or lack thereof. Guitars. Guitar sounds great, but again, spec reverb. Sounds great. I mean, man, it's also good. And the bass, I mean, listen to that bass playing. It's freaking incredible. And then the background vocals. Sound great, but they're really hard to hear. And they're not stereo panned, really. I mean, maybe they are a bit, but not much. This is really loud. Sounds great. The whole thing sounds great. And it all sounds so good. Here, let's jump to the end. And there's a video of it. And this one right here, there's a double kick right here, right coming up. I know, I can't hear it either, but there is double kick there. So it's all really good at the end. Building up. It's not a very dynamic recording, right? All right, I'm going to turn that off. And we're going to take a look at what I did. But I'm also hyped up because I have a rehearsal tonight with my orchestra. I can't scroll this. Why can I not scroll this? There we go. Let's do that again. There's probably a shortcut for this, but do I not know? All right. So now we're going to turn on everything I've got. So let's listen to the drums. I did something with the drums here. This is going to be 3 drum tracks. First of all, I want to take a look at what I did here. So the drums themselves. Sound like this. That's no EQ. Maybe there's a little bit of compression and processing on my master channel, okay? But still. Listen to this freaking drum playing. Tribal freaking drums. Pow rocks, man. Her dynamics sounds so good. I mean, I almost don't want to touch it. And there are pros and cons to what I did. But I think the cons outweigh the pros. I mean, the pros outweigh the cons. I hope. Anyway. So you notice what I did there? See this blue line here? This is ascend, or this is actually a level of 1 EQ field in the drums. So in my effects channel, I have this equalizer here. This is my EQ equalizer. As I know, I again used a lot of positive EQ, but then I subtracted afterwards, so it all works out. Don't stress. Anyway, so if you look at number 6 here, oh, you can't see that. Let me bring that up. There you go. Okay, so that's my equalizer. Sorry about that. So this is actually the effects on the main drum channel. This number 6, there are a whole bunch of things like a low cutoff. There's a reason for that because I'm moving the kick drum out of here. Emphasizing snare frequencies, Emphasizing tom frequencies. Oh no, it's 5. Not 6, 5. Look at 5. Never mind 6, it's 5. Now look at the red one here. Watch it. Okay. I'm on drugs? Oh, I know why. There we go. Okay, let's try it again. So now I gotta turn my effects on. There you go, number 5. See number 5? So it moved up and down. You know what the reason was for that? The reason for that was to emphasize the frequencies that the toms are in during fills. Tom fills? Let's listen to that. Right? Tom fill. Another tom fill coming up here. Right? A lot of them. So that's pretty cool, right? Then we've got a compressor. This is a multi-band compressor. That way we can keep the levels going because it is single tracked. So try to keep the levels going for the kick drum, toms, snare, kick drum, toms, snare. There's also kick drum, of course, attacking all this. And cymbals, trying to keep them all level like it's a multi-band mix. And then I've got a limiter on the top just to catch it in case it goes over. It's actually going over a lot, but that adds to my overall glue. Then this. Check this out. This is how I do the kick drum. So I do ascend from this. Ascend just means that the output from my drum channel just goes to another channel. And it's called kick trigger, this channel here. Kick trigger is just an empty channel. There's no recording on it. And it takes the feed from the drum channel. And I do the following to it. Let me bring that up so you can actually see it. I do a lot of things here. Whoops. Hold on. Let me just see what I just did. Okay. So first of all, I do an extreme EQ. So the drum's coming in. This is the low area here. There is a absolutely insane low shelf turn on and another low pass at 43 hertz. So I'm trying to get only the very lowest stuff that only a kick drum will record if it was recorded properly, will sound like. Then that, all the kick drum that comes out of this would sound like this. I don't know if you'll hear it. Oh, I've got to do this, sorry. There we go. You can hear that, right? That's the lowest part of the drum set. So yeah. Then I turn this on. Now this takes that and allows me to create a MIDI trigger out of the audio that comes in with different threshold, input, output thresholds, retrigger intervals so I don't get repeat like or anything like that. Original signal mix is not in it. I can bring it in if you want. All we get out of this is a MIDI output, and then I have MIDI channel, all that stuff. Now we turn on a sampler. This is a sample playback. I've got a whole bunch of professional kick drum samples, and this one sounds pretty darn good. Then I turn on some EQing because it's a little too hot in some of the areas that we don't like. So I'm actually just going to make sure I get the right things turned on here. There we go. So now, let's turn on the drums with it, and you'll hear how it blends in. So I know it's not the sound of her kick drum, but the sound of her kick drum still is there in the mix. Just I took out the lowest end of it, and I replaced it with this. Now I've got some snare reverb going on. So again, I did an extreme filter of the snare frequencies. Try to catch it a little bit. Then I add some reverb to it. And it sounds like this. Now the snare has more reverb and crack to it. Yeah. So that's how I did with the drums. And you might wonder why I didn't do that, you know, how I did a kick replacement. It's called drum replacement. when I took the kick drum signal and I replaced a lot of its output, audio output, with a sample that's triggered. I did that because the original recording, I can't separate the kick drum and EQ it the way I'd like, so it makes it sound better. And in a mix, you'll just be like, wow, this kick sounds great. It's pretty convincing. And it is her playing. It's just her playing with a different sound coming out. You might wonder why I didn't do that with the snare drum. The snare drum, I just had to sort of crank things and EQ it and add reverb and some of this. It's because of the drum part in this song by MUSE is insane. And then when you add POW to the mix, there's no way that I could separate the snare drum from a mix in here using current technology and have it reliably do it. Maybe there's a machine learning thing to grab the snare out of it, but I don't think it would be very effective from what I've tried things like that. And there's too much going on because of all the tom work. I mean, check this out. Look, so this is an EQ on the drum channel. This is my full mix again. So this is low frequencies, high frequencies, cymbals, kick drum, toms, tom attack, snare. So the whole thing goes up when the kicks hit. But see this is just a big long mishmash of signal because the attacks of the toms sound similar to the attack of the snare. Yes, we hear different overtones because there's snare sound on the snare, but it's just a big drum anyway, right? It's tuned similarly to one of the toms. It just happens to have a different attack. It's a different surface and it has a snare in it. So there's no way I could reliably, and I've done this before, I know, reliably use a narrowband EQ to just find the snare trigger frequency that isn't the same as the tom trigger frequencies and is at a certain hit level, because she also plays dynamically. The snare is quieter than the toms here, honestly, because she's very dynamic and expressive and has incredible skills and technical skill and musical skills, what I'm trying to say. So it wouldn't be able to reliably turn that into a MIDI snare trigger. It's going to sound like crap, and you also will lose a lot of the dynamics that she gets because trying to get the dynamics out of this requires you basically would have to have a dedicated snare track. Now in the studio with David Bendeth, who's what I was thinking of, David Bendeth did replacements on the drums in the Error album, and again, like so many famous albums have done that. Tons and tons and tons of albums have done that. So it's quite an industry standard to do snare and kick replacement, even tom replacement at times, on an acoustic kit. Sometimes to supplement what's there, sometimes to replace it. Don't always have to, right? And I mean, there's a lot of reasons not to. It sounds great if you can pull it off. And he didn't do that all the way through the Error album, by the way. He used her snare drum as much as possible, but he did emphasize things. I remember I did a Money remix in the competition. I only got a minute of it, but I got the stems from the original. Yeah, there's actual like tracks showing what David Bendeth did is fascinating. And also so many tracks of guitars by Danny, like so many, including baritone guitars and so forth. But anyway, the point being, you can do that if you have a dedicated snare track with snare mics close mic'd. So what you're picking up is clearly not going to be mixed up loudly, at least with other instruments on the drum set. So you can then use that as a MIDI trigger and supplement it and get dynamics, and it sounds wonderful. I can't do that in this thick mix with tons of like stuff going on. It's just not possible. So I worked with what I had. Pow is a bit of a monster, and that's what happens when you get a monster playing drums doing this incredibly beautiful, dynamic, somewhat insane drum playing. So now let's move on to the bass. The bass. So the bass, first of all, I put a rider on it. This is an auto fader follower. There we go. This will move up and down here as it plays back according to the input level. I equalized it a bit. I took out some of the mid frequencies, emphasized some of the lower end a little bit, generally reduced the upper frequencies by 1.5 decibels. I added an exciter to it, 4,300 hertz, quite a bit actually. That's just because a lot of it's lost in the tone of the recording, and also machine learning tends to lose some of the high end. Then I added a low frequency, an octaver. This is a low octave, 1 octave down, 8.3 decibels lower than the main source, but it's in there. And I put it through a bass overdrive and then through a virtual amp. Sort of an ampeg, again with the 115. And now we end up with this sort of a bass sound. If I turn off the effects, this is her bass sound with the effects. See, it's low octave, makes it thick and heavy. It's much more MUSE-like and overdriven. Now, I mean, that's a lot of processing, but it's still her playing. All I did is add MUSE-like effects to it. The guitars. This is the guitars. I know they're panned left. Okay. Let's go through the bus. There we go. That's just so I can control all the guitars with one. Then I'm also sending the output of the guitars channel to another guitars channel over here. And this guitars channel has an octave down on it because Danny does that a lot these days. She didn't used to, but she does now. Amp modeler, going through Messy Boogie and a JCM 800, two of them together. Very Danny-like. And we've got an equalizer to bring down the mids a bit where vocal range is and some of the fuzz. And then we've also got the same sort of thing going on our main guitar channel. Compressor, some EQ. No virtual amps, it's just what it sounds like. So that's the guitars, and it sounds way fuller. This is the piano part, originally. Then I've got an equalizer I'm putting on it. And I'll show you what all this does one by one. So brightens it up a bit, scoops out the lows where the... See the clicking? That's from machine learning. Then declick it with this. So no more clicking sounds. That's annoying, like clicking from the machine learning stuff. We'll add a nice reverb to it. Isn't that a nice big stereo reverb? It's beautiful, right? Then we've got a little bit of keyboard synthy modulation effects I threw on there. Because I'm thinking it fits the song. I know, I'm being artistic here. And then the whole thing with the vocals, Danny's vocals. I've got a declicker, I've got a vocal rider that just keeps the level right, limiter. Then I've got a nice stereo delay and an equalizer on it. A little bit of brightness added to it. Let's see what this sounds like. Because her vocal sounds so good originally. You hear that echo and the reverb? It fits well in the mix and it brings out the emphasis of her voice. Some of the sounds a little funny, and that's just because machine learning takes away some of the presence and stuff. It's too bad. The separation of getting stems this way loses some fidelity. But in the mix, it sounds really good. All right, let's take a look. And then we did the same thing with the kids, with your sisters. I also wanted to point out with the vocals. So again, when you see parts like this is the timeline, right? So this is the beginning of the song. This is the end of the song over here. These are each of the tracks. You can't see the left side because my face is in the way. See, those are the tracks. But the tracks line up with these. So just this order here is the same thing top to bottom over here, right? You can see the timeline above. The gray things are highlighting. That's as I click different tracks. See? So when it comes to vocals or any of the tracks, when it comes to vocals specifically, there will be a lot of editing, and that's for two reasons. First of all vocals should always be edited extensively in studio recordings and will be almost always in every case. And by editing, I mean taking out noise, background noises, and sounds, right? Now, you didn't get a lot of that in this, but if you're in a studio recording with a condenser microphone, you're going to hear every time and stuff like that. All those noises you're going to hear constantly, and you have to take them out. You have to take them out of the mix. And singers do things like that before they start to sing. A lot of them will turn away from the mic. Some of them do it very quietly. Some of them, like me, do it very loudly. Sorry, that was annoying, but I'm trying to demonstrate the stuff that you really do hear. And then you process that stuff, and it gets magnified and cut through, and you don't realize it's there till you've got the release out, and you're like, ah, crap. Anyway, so let's take a look here. So for Danny's vocal, I'm going to zoom in a bit. This is a horizontal zoom, so we can see more what's going on. I'll zoom in this way too. So this is their stereo tracks because they came out of a stereo mix. So this is Danny. By the way, the beginning sounds really groany. That's because the machine learning couldn't differentiate her very quiet voice in the mix compared to the instrument. So it's sort of just how it is. But in mix, it sounds good. It's our secret safe tonight, and are we out of sight? Or will our walk come tumbling down? So we go on here. But it could have been right. Oh, there's a noise. Did you hear that noise? I didn't even notice that. I gotta edit that one out. You hear that? Let me turn off the echo for a sec. Can you guys hear that? That's funny. I never noticed that. This is why we gotta do these things. Let me take that out. That's sort of stuff I'm talking about. I'm just going to fade the end of it. But it could have been right. Much better. Turn the effects back on. But it could have been right. So I just fixed something. Thanks, guys. I'm glad you went over this with me. But besides that, this is also where she alternates with other singers. And so this is Pow's track here. This one here. This is Pow. But it's not just Pow. It's kind of Pow and Ally mixed into one machine learning stereo track. So it's actually the same tracks in Ally's and Pow's tracks. I did pan them though, so it sounds more like the original thing because the original panning was there in the mix anyway, that their dad did. So it kind of works and it still keeps it working. But you can't always separate two voices, especially when they're singing in unison using machine learning, and it couldn't hear. So it just kind of put them into one track. But it sounds great anyway. The point being, so these sometimes get jumbled in with machine learning's stem extraction with the lead vocal, and you get bleed over and over and over. So if we do just hearing the background vocal track, right? So now put that together with Danny. If I didn't take that out of Danny's part, you would hear it bleeding into Danny's parts in these areas here, 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 stuff like that, right? So now it sounds really good. Separation. Let's do it all together. It's mostly Ally here on the side, you notice. Pow's there, but she didn't sing as loud. Now Pow's over on the right. So there's little glitches there, and I can't do anything about that in Danny's part. It's just the way it sounds, because partly machine learning and not having a separate track to fix, and it's just glitching. But in the mix, it still sounds great. See? It's just how it is. I could try to edit that out. If I was making a commercial release, I would find a way to edit that out. But I'm not going to bother for this. In context, it sounds amazing. Check this out. And you notice what the glitch comes from? Because machine learning couldn't do the extraction. It's from the bass. It gets confused between that and the voice. So, all good. In the mix, it sounds really good. But that's why I edited this out. And same thing with specifically Allie's vocals here. I had to edit them apart because there's a lot of weird noises that came in from other sides. It's not her. It's from the machine learning extraction trying to make stems. So that's why this is all done like this. But regardless, Danny, and then here we go back and forth between just Allie this time, no pow. Allie, Danny, Allie, Danny, Allie, Danny, Allie, Danny, Allie, Danny, and Pow doing her thing in here. It's really cool. I mean, I think Pow was probably singing, but it's very, very quiet. So what it ended up doing, actually, no, I would say not. Because look, it was machine learning managed to figure out somehow or other to separate these out. It's pretty impressive. Regardless, it sounds great. Right or wrong, it sounds really good. That's as good as machine learning is going to get these days. I'm quite impressed with it. So, yeah. I hope that helps understand what I do here. Cool. So let's listen from the beginning quickly. Sounds much more current, right? Way more current. Yeah, I like this. The drums are significantly brighter than they used to be, and that's because of the snare reverb. The way I had to EQ it to get it. Pros and cons. It does bring out the articulation of her hitting the toms too, which is nice. Ally on the left. Al over here. That was on the right. So that's more of a typical Thorning mix. Ally on the left, Danny in the middle, Pow on the right. And the kick drum comes through well, eh? See the fill? I brought out the toms. And the guitars are so heavy. A little lower depth in the bass with a heavy low octave. So you can hear the guitar. It's one note, but you can hear two octaves of it. There's a lower octave in the right channel. Neat, right? All right, guys. Oh, and I wanted to show you where that double kick thing happens. Hear that? Check that out. You can really hear it with the kick sampler. So again, that's her playing. It's just not the tone of her kick, but that's her playing and triggering it completely herself. So it's still authentic. And this is done all the time, by the way. The Error album is full of drum samples, snare, some, and tons of kick samples. He does the same thing. Everyone does this. It's a standard thing to fill up. AC/DC, Back in Black, snare samples and kick samples all over it. Let's see, there's a bit of an echo on the sisters. Cool, eh? All right. So I'm going to play this all for you. And I'm going to sit back and listen. And then, yeah, I've got a little video I made together of it. So we'll put that together and you can enjoy it. All right. Hope you enjoyed this. If you do, this is a lot of time on my part, but I love doing it. I do make this, like, music is my career. And this is the only way I make money is trying to do things for other people. This is for myself, but if you do feel like you want to donate, I really appreciate it. Many of you donated over the last while, and I'm incredibly grateful. Incredibly grateful. Thank you so much, all of you. Amazing. But I appreciate it anytime. And subscribe, like, comment, please. Give me feedback, as long as it's not like, oh, you suck, because then I'm just going to have to tell you you suck too. But other than that, yeah. Right on, guys. Talk to you later. Rock and roll! Resistance by The Warning, Dawn Music's remix.